I worked for years and built a dam on my land. Maybe it didn't look beautiful. People thought it was just a pile of stones and concrete. But that dam saved me, my land, and the houses of the whole area from floods. But HOA didn't care about this dam. They called it ugly, said it was against the rules. In their eyes, it was an ugly wall. For me, it was everything. They didn't listen to me. They tore down the dam. A few days later, the rains came. The water changed its course. And then their million-dollar home sank into the swamp. I stood there watching. Years of hard work and patience had been destroyed. Now their pride was sinking into the mud. Now I will tell you the whole story, where everything started. This is not only the story of a dam. This is the story of my life, my land. That land which I bought with blood and sweat. This was not inheritance. This was not a gift. I worked for years, saved money, slowly bought piece by piece. When finally it became my own land, I thought I had won. But I did not know that the real fight had not even started yet. In one corner of this land, there was a stream. In dry season, that stream looked like a small flow. Water flowed, sound was light, and everything remained peaceful. But as soon as the rains came, that stream became a beast. Water was so fast that soil was cut, trees were uprooted and fell, and sometimes even the whole direction of the fields changed. You think if your hard work flows away in one day, how would it feel? This is what happened. Every year rain came and I lost one part of my land. Sometimes soil washed away, sometimes crops. My neighbors who earlier farmed here, they also got tired. They sold their land, left their homes, and went away. Everyone told me, living here is useless. Water never becomes anyone's friend. But I was different. I decided that I would not leave this land. This was the result of my hard work, and I would not give it to the flood. At that time, I made one thing firm in my heart. I have to stop the direction of the water, and from there one thought was born. The thought of building a dam. Maybe you will think, how can a common man alone build a dam? But when it is about respect and land, then a man does everything. I started by collecting stones. From the edges of the stream, from the nearby forest, whatever I found, I picked up. I used wood, I used soil. Slowly, I started to build a wall. That wall was not beautiful. There was no architect, there was no engineer. Only me and my hard work. Every day I placed one stone, then made it strong with soil. Sometimes in one whole day, only one layer was made. Sometimes for many nights I kept working. It took 2 years. Think for a moment, to stay on one thing for 2 years. Can every person do this? But I did not lose courage. Because I knew that if this dam was built, then my and everyone's life would change. And then that day came. The dam was complete. Now it was the first test, the first rain. Clouds gathered in the sky, rains started. Water came from the stream to the dam. I myself was standing in the rain, my heart beating fast. Every second it felt that the dam would break. But the dam did not accept defeat. It stood. Water kept striking it, but the wall kept holding it back. That day, for the first time, I felt that my hard work had succeeded. Land was safe, soil was saved, homes were safe. And the biggest thing, the flood stopped. That day was a new day of life for me. After that, every year rains came, storms came, but the dam stood strong. Slowly, people forgot the fear of floods. Their homes always remained safe, their basements never got water. Their lawns always remained green. But do you know what is the biggest weakness of humans? They forget quickly. Years passed. People kept building new homes. Fancy neighborhoods were made. And then one day an HOA was made. When they saw my land, there was no gratitude in their eyes. They did not see that this dam saved their homes from floods. In their eyes, it was only an ugly structure. I often thought, does a human become so blind that he cannot see his own safety? He only wants a beautiful view, not the real truth? You tell me, if your safety is behind an ugly wall, would you break it? HOA people kept coming to me again and again. One day they said, this dam spoils the neighborhood view. Another day, this is against the rules. Third day, this is not allowed on your property. I kept asking them again and again, if I demolish this dam, do you think your homes will remain safe? Do you remember what a flood is? But their answer was always the same. Rules are rules. On their faces there was arrogance, as if they felt that the dam was against their power, as if until the dam stood, their authority was incomplete. And that day, for the first time, I realized that my biggest fight would not be with the flood, but with the HOA. I had decided to build the dam, but deciding is one thing and completing it is another. Think about it. A man who has put his life's money into land and livelihood, how can he take on the project of building a dam alone? People were laughing. They said he is crazy trying to stop the water. But I thought, if every year the water destroys my land, then after a lifetime of work I will achieve nothing. So why not work hard once and make a solution? What would you do in my place? Keep suffering loss again and again, or break your life once to build something? I started small. Collected stones, cut and brought wood, and filled soil to make a small barrier. By day I farmed, at night I filled soil and made a line. Hands got chafed. Back hurt. But every day a little work progressed. Neighbors first laughed, then became surprised. They said, maybe he will really do it. Some people came to help. They also understood that if the dam was built, everyone's land would be saved. But not everyone supports. You know, in every neighborhood, every village, there are people who cannot tolerate others' hard work. I had such people here too. And behind those people was the HOA. HOA rules said no permanent structure could be built without their approval. But what could I do? If I went for approval, they would ask for 100 paperwork and fees. And at that time, I didn't have the money. I started on my own. I thought, this is just a wall to stop water. What problem would anyone have? But a problem happened. One day, an HOA man came, clipboard in hand, taking pictures. He said, this looks ugly. It spoils the community's beauty. I said, beauty? This is not beauty. This is a matter of life. How do you feel? If someone comes and simply calls the biggest work of your life ugly and rejects it, how would you feel? Still, I did not stop work. Why? Because the rains were not far. I knew that if the dam was not completed this year, my crops, my home, everything would mix into the soil. Day and night I worked. Stone after stone, soil after soil. Slowly, that small wall began to take the form of a strong dam. When for the first time it changed the water's course and stopped flood in my fields, tears came to my eyes. Those tears were not of pain, they were of relief. Have you ever felt such relief where all tiredness disappears in a moment? But relief does not last long. HOA came again, this time with a notice. It read, you have carried out illegal construction. Remove it within 30 days, otherwise we will take action. Seeing the notice, I thought, do these people think the dam is my hobby? No, this dam is my weapon to save life. I tore the notice and threw it aside. I knew if this dam was demolished, everything would drown. Then one night a meeting was called. HOA people, neighbors, and me. In the meeting, I had to speak in front of everyone. I asked them, when water reaches your homes, will your rules stop it? When flood carries away your cars, will your paperwork stop it? Some people were silent, some nodded. But the HOA head said just one line, rules are rules. Ugly structures won't be tolerated. At that moment, I realized this fight is not only against water, it is also against these people. These people have become blind with pride. Think, if something you built that is saving everyone is to be destroyed only because they find it ugly, what would you do? I decided, if they tried to demolish the dam, I would not step aside from their front. This was not just soil and stones, this was my honor. After receiving the notice, I refused to demolish the dam. I thought maybe the HOA would understand, but their arrogance had blinded them. Days passed, and their hatred kept growing stronger. One morning, I was on my land, strengthening a corner of the dam. From afar, I saw some people approaching. 3 cars stopped, and HOA members came out. Clipboards, files, and cameras in their hands. As if I was committing some crime, they started taking pictures. One member shouted, this is an illegal structure, and we are here to tear it down. I got angry. I stood in front of the dam and said, first you will have to bring me down. Can you understand that feeling? When you stand like a wall in front of your entire hard work? They threatened, talked about calling the police. But at that moment, the police didn't come. Maybe they also understood that I was trying to save my life. The HOA left, but while leaving, they said one thing. Next time, no one will come to stop us. That night, I didn't sleep. Dark clouds were in the sky. The season was rainy. I knew the storm was not far. As always, I was ready to fight the water. But this time, the fight was bigger. Along with the water, the HOA was also against me. Days passed. The clouds grew heavier. Neighbors were worried. Some came to me and said, brother, don't let them demolish the dam. This doesn't only save your land, it saves our homes too. Their words were strength for me. But I kept thinking, if everyone knows this dam is necessary, then why doesn't the HOA understand? Will their houses not drown in the water? Then one day the worst happened. The HOA people came back, this time with heavy machines. Bulldozers, hammers, and men. Their intention was clear. The dam had to be destroyed. I stood in front of them, shouting, you don't understand! This dam is not only mine, it is yours too. But they didn't listen. The bulldozer started breaking a part of the dam. Stones scattered, soil washed away. My heart broke, as if my soul was ripped apart. I kept asking myself one question. When the storm comes, will these people understand what mistake they made? And then, the storm really came. That night, rain began. First light drops, then heavy downpour. All night the rain fell, and by morning the stream had turned into a raging river. But this time, there was no dam to stop it. The water changed its course straight into the community. First the gardens drowned, then the garages, then the houses. $1,000,000 luxury homes, which the HOA considered their pride, all began sinking into the swamp. I stood at the corner of my land, watching. My home was on high ground, it survived. But their homes, the ones who came to demolish the dam, sank into the mud. Tell me, was this justice? Or only nature's revenge? The morning scene is still in front of my eyes. The night-long rain had drowned the entire area. The water broke the banks and entered the community. Where yesterday green lawns and luxury cars were shining, today there was only swamp. I was watching everything from my high land. The dam had fallen, and now the water was taking its revenge. Think, those people who till yesterday lectured me about the ugly structure, today their BMWs, their swimming pools, their houses, all were underwater. A woman who used to scream the most in the HOA meeting was standing on her balcony shouting, "Help! Help! Someone do something!" I was watching from afar. A voice came from inside me. "Didn't you say this dam was ugly? Didn't you say rules are above everything? Now what could I do? I knew that if the dam was there, this wouldn't have happened. But now it was late. In some houses, water had filled up to the knees. Kitchens, furniture, everything destroyed. Luxury sofas, which yesterday were pride, today were floating in the mud. What do you think? How much time does nature take to break human arrogance? Just one night of rain. Then I saw the head of the HOA was trying to save his car. He tried to start the SUV, but the engine drowned in water was dead. He kept shouting in worry, but his own house was being filled with water. He came towards me and started shouting, "You are happy now, aren't you? Your stubbornness destroyed everything." I stayed silent. But inside, a fire was burning. Was it my stubbornness or theirs? I had built the dam to save everyone. They were the ones who demolished it. They were the ones who tried to play with nature. At night, when the water grew stronger, people started leaving their houses and running away. Fire trucks, rescue teams tried to enter the community, but the swamp had blocked the way. $1,000,000 homes had now become a part of a swamp. Think. The houses people built with their lifetime earnings, how would it feel to see them drowning in the mud? But the biggest thing was that their arrogance drowned with those houses. I was standing on my veranda. Neighbors came and asked, "Brother, how did your house survive?" I said, "Because I built the dam on high ground. If that dam was still here, all of you would have been saved." There was shame in their eyes. But why did they feel shame now? When they were demolishing the dam, then they remembered the community's rule. When their houses drowned, then they remembered my words. And that night, one question kept echoing in my mind. Does man learn from his mistake, or only when nature teaches him a lesson? When the storm stopped, there was a strange silence in the morning. The sky was clearing, but on the ground there was only mud, water, and drowned houses. The streets that were shining yesterday had today turned into a field of swamp. I was standing on the veranda watching everything. Water had come under my house too, but the foundation of my dam was still holding the land together. My land was saved, but the HOA's houses, their $1,000,000 mansions, had collapsed under the mud. Rescue trucks came, people had to be taken out. Families left their homes and went to temporary shelters. Children were crying, women couldn't understand how everything ended in one night. And then came the day when I was called to court. HOA members accused me of building an illegal dam. But when evidence was presented before the judge, photos, witnesses, and videos of the flood, the truth came out. The judge said only one line. "This man, the dam he was trying to build alone, that was the very thing that would have saved all of you. And you destroyed it with your own hands. The responsibility is yours." The HOA collapsed. Their members were fined. Their pride sank into the mud, just like their houses. And me? I was still there. But there was one difference. People who used to call me crazy yesterday, today came to me and said, "Brother, you were right. If the dam had survived, all our houses would have been saved." I looked into their eyes and thought, all of this could have been saved. But they placed their rules and their ego above humanity. What do you think in life? What is the real danger? The storm of nature or the arrogance of man? The lesson of my life was this: man should not fight nature, but walk with it. I built the dam to save my land, but that dam shattered their arrogance. Even today, I sit on my veranda and think, if that dam was still there, today this village, this community would not be a swamp, it would be a paradise. But their thinking, their rules, and their word ugly destroyed their lives. And the final question I want to ask you, in your life too, there will be a dam, something that protects you and your family. If tomorrow someone comes and says it is ugly, will you stand to protect it, or will you let them destroy it?